Yeah, well, so big data, that's certainly been the buzzword now for quite a while. I think a lot of people maybe are getting tired of it, but big data has a lot of aspects to it. And the way I think about it is it's evolved, and I see basically four use cases for big data, and kind of looking at it from a historical perspective. So the original reason for big data technology, the original use case, was simply that we really had big data. Too much data to process through standard relational type database systems. And for example, the original use case, take every page on the internet and index all the words so that you could search on them. That was really the original use case for big data. And in order to do that, they had to come up with a new technology, a technology now that we call Hadoop MapReduce. Basically what that technology was doing is really exploiting large-scale parallel processing to be able to get that much processing done in a reasonable amount of time. When you go out and key search on a search engine and you key a query, you expect to get something back right away. So you can't wait days to get your answer back. So this is the original use case for big data. Now, but things have changed because those people who adopted the big data technology that really did have large amounts of data discovered something. They discovered that by going through large amounts of data, that you could actually gain more insight into the data. If you will, business intelligence or data mining was, and so now even for companies, for example, that had systems, traditional systems, that could do their operational processing in real time without the need to go into big data technology, they then discovered that, well, you know, maybe it's not the data that I'm processing today. What if I wanted to go back and look at 10 years worth of transactional data from my customers? And could I get more insight out of that? And the answer often is yes. And then in order to do that much data, then required implementing big data technologies. So the second use case that arose was sort of, if you will, creating big data by aggregating a lot of data so that you could get deeper business insights out of that. And the third use case, which is associated with that, is to say, well, you know, what we've talked about so far has been pretty much the structured data of the enterprise. That is, the data that was actually captured as part of the operation of the enterprise. For example, the sales transactions, as I said, going back and looking at all 10 years or 20 years of sales transactions for customers. That represents structured data that's already in the operational system, things that we would traditionally put in what we call data warehouses. But now there's a lot of new data that's user-generated data. And this is data that's coming from social media like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So people are generating a lot of data. Now that data is not generated for particular use other than it's just something that people want to say about themselves, what's their status for the day. But oftentimes they do have messages that could be important to a business, especially if that person is one of your customers or maybe a prospect for you. So now there's a lot of interest in taking and processing the social media to see if it can be merged or associated with the traditional structured data in the enterprise to get even deeper insights. And so it's not just going back through large amounts of structured data, but also trying to add in and supplement that with social media data, which is very unstructured and requires a lot of processing. So again, this raises the issue of being able to process all that and filter through it to find things that are of interest requires that big data technology.